Hey everyone, it's your girl Elaine here. So I wanted to make this video, one, to share my story, two, to talk about something that's really difficult among the Filipino American community, and three, to share resources for healing and support. So to give a little bit of context, I was born in San Diego, California. There's a lot of pockets of Filipino Americans that live in San Diego and California. And I wanted to talk about a topic that is really hard. There's still a lot of stigma within the Filipino American community. A lot of it has to do with shame. A lot of Asian cultures, there's a lot of shame-based threads that are tied to image, are tied to ego, are tied to preserving the family unit. And I grew up in a religion. I did not choose the religion I was born into. I was baptized in a religion that my parents brought me up in. But, from a really young age, I would say when I entered adolescence, I began to question, the validity of the doctrines, and because my mindset was very different from the way I thought, from my family members, especially, my extended family members. And I could see myself emerging as this person, I want to share these ideas, and I want to speak upon my differences, but when I did, I was usually met with dismissal or invalidation. And not every child that grows up in a religion is going to think the same way as their parents. That's wishful thinking for a lot of people. And a lot of Asian collectivist cultures, we tend to be very tight-knit. There's a lot of sense of strong community, but within that is the need to please our parents, the need to respect our parents, and sometimes that holds precedence over individualism. And that's where there's a really tug of war struggle that happens. That's what happened to me. And when I did decide to leave, the catalyst was me dating someone that wasn't in my faith. He was a beautiful soul, great individual. And I just couldn't fathom why I couldn't be with that person. I was he's such a beautiful human being. He comes from a lovely family, but yet I'm being told I'm going to go to hell because I'm dating him. It just didn't make sense to me. It killed me inside, and I struggled. Now looking back, I probably had anxiety and depression, which I never sought treatment for. And I just want to say that, for anyone that's in this predicament or has gone through this, I acknowledge the pain that you are experiencing or maybe have experienced. If you didn't get validation from your close-knit community, I'm sorry that happened to you. If you felt like you were different, if you felt you didn't belong, if you got backlash or punishment for leaving, I'm sorry that happened to you. You did not deserve that treatment. Now, I acknowledge both sides of the coin here. With the parents thinking did I do something wrong? Because there's shame within the parents' mind too. Oh my God, did I do something wrong? I'm leading them away from a life of etc., righteousness, the holy kingdom. I acknowledge the pain that the parents are going through too when they're grieving the loss of their child leaving. I'm not saying that the parents are not going through pain too, but I also acknowledge the pain of the child who is struggling with trying to bloom and grow and thrive in American culture. And where in America our ideals, or not even just America, but throughout the whole world, where you want to have an individual, you want to show your individuality, whether that's being in a same-sex relationship, whether that's exploring Buddhism, whether that's dating someone of a different faith. I acknowledge that too. There's grief on both ends, grief for the mom or the dad, and there's grief for the child because they're grieving the loss of connection within the community that they were raised in. And a lot of the times, the community that they're raised in is not accepting of this different lifestyle. And usually that comes with ostracism, and then that stems and brings on depression, shame, guilt. And there's a lot of psychological damages that can happen to the child as they grow into adulthood, as they enter the workforce, as they create relationships and connections outside of the faith or the religion that they were born into. And if I could say one thing to parents or people that are going through this, is to do your research. And if, do your research in terms of the impact it will have on your child growing up as they thrive in their society, because it's important for the child to feel validated, and it's important for them to feel like their parents are supporting them. And I know I say that with ease as it's coming out of my mouth, but I acknowledge how difficult this can be, especially for parents who were brought up in a faith that is so near and dear to their heart and that encompasses their identity. So I acknowledge that side too. It's difficult for the parents and it's difficult for the family. But if you could just put your shoes into the child's or adolescents or young adults, put yourself in their shoes too, and to just have a little bit more empathy. And that takes practice, and it might even take a mental health professional stepping in who understands trauma, who understands cultural differences, of the first generation, second generation, and parents who have immigrated from different countries, whether that be the Philippines, China, any other, collectivist culture, who understands those differences and the strain between the two. So if you're open to seeing a therapist, if you are experiencing this, or maybe you're going through it with your child right now, but you just don't know what to do, what resources, I've listed them below. And I guess the main takeaway I wanted to say for this is that you're not alone in the struggle. I know it could feel like your world is falling apart, like no one understands you, no one will ever understand the pain that you're going through, but I do, because I've lived it. I've experienced it, and it's taken me a lot of soul searching to come to a place of acceptance within myself and rebuilding my self-confidence and venturing out into this world knowing that, hey, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below in my YouTube, in the comment section. Maybe if you feel inspired to share your story, feel free to do so as well. And that's all I had to say. I hope you have a great day.